Hello survivors, and welcome to another video. In today's video, we are on the Elementalist. We're going to see how strong he has gotten with the skill tree and the buffs that the other characters get for every single character. Unfortunately, his skill tree isn't out yet, but runes, we're playing with Generalist, Executioner, Multicast Mastery, Unconventional Start, and Vulnerable Target. Vulnerable Target can be changed for any 2-cost rune if you want, or you can just take it out if you only have 9 or 10 runes. These 4 are the most important. Now, we do start with Unconventional Start because we are looking for Frostbolt, so we are going to just get started. If we do not find Frostbolt in like the first couple of rerolls, we will restart and go from there, and then we are going to be looking for Ice Vortex as well. So let's just restart, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep doing this until I do find it, and we will talk about the rest of the build. So that's perfect. That was the reason why we did it. Now the reason we go for Frostbolt is actually because of its insanely low cooldown and its decently high damage. The rest of the items we're going to be looking for are going to be Magic Missile, Chromatic Bolt, maybe Arcane Power, but I don't think we really need it too badly. But otherwise we're then going to be looking for Ice Vortex, as well as 1 or 2 other skills. We'll see what happens while we go. Now there are very strong skills in the game already, something like Summon Helper Elves, which we're not going to be using because, well, we kind of would use them in absolutely every single build, let's be honest. They are very strong. They just like, using Frenzied Bunnies on absolutely any skill, on any build to get a prestige, like we spoke about when we did that video. So, we'll link that video down below in the description if you missed it, but otherwise, we're going to stay away from those skills because they are very strong. So over here, we're going to take Light Beam just as a placeholder. The range on Light Beam isn't as great as I would personally like, especially since Frostbolt doesn't really have too much of a range. Everything on the screen is going to get hit by Frostbolt, so we're not too worried about the range of it. But the range of Light Beam, you do need to get quite a bit of area of effect for it to be somewhat useful. The other thing that we are going to be doing in this build, because we do have Executioner, is no matter the fact that if we have Ice, Fire, whatever, no matter the build that we go for, if we have Executioner, I will be taking 1 of every single debuff that we find. So here we got Burn, we've got our Magic Missile, which was buffed recently, so we are using it instead of Light Beam, so we will be buffing that. We are going to grab Arcane Beam for the Exposed. Again, Beam's not really the greatest, but we do need a source of Exposed. If we find Arcane Disc, then that might be slightly better for us to use, just because of the range that it has. And then we're going to go for Frostbolt upgrades, and I want both of these skills, so we are going to lock it. Last time I tried this, Ice Vortex was hindering me beyond belief. Do you know what, we are actually going to take it. It deals quite a huge amount of damage. It's not bad, and then it's even a 50% exposed as well, and I believe the range is better than the Arcane Beam, similar to that of Magic Missile versus our Light Beam. So we are going to try the Arcane Disc. If I feel like it's just not enough exposed happening, then we will look at using Arcane Beam in the future. But for now, before the build that we are going, as you can see, we are in a very good spot right now, but we will see when the first bosses spawn what happens. We do need to replace our Light Beam over here with the final skill, and let's see what we can find for ourselves. Now the best thing would be Lightning Bolt, but if we can find it again, that would be fantastic. Unfortunately, nothing over there. Shadow Bolt did get a buff as well, so we are going to use it for now with the intentions of changing it up as soon as we find Lightning Bolt, because who doesn't like Dazed. But again, Doom is pretty good as well. We could even end up getting Impending Doom from this, as well as with the Chromatic Bolt, and that's going to put us in a very good spot, especially with our Shadow Bolt providing us with Doom damage. But as you can see, pretty solid start, especially on the first set of bosses. I do like the damage I am seeing, but we do need to just be wary of you know, their damage as well. We are going to have to work on some movement speed as well, because as you can see, we were not moving fast enough over there, so we're going to grab some of the movement speed. Beautiful cast frequency over there, and we Poison to Doom not really interested in, so we'll grab the cast frequency again over there. So we are actually in a very strong spot, and this is just the build that I was looking for. So normally I do purity builds, or you know, I've got a little bit of confession over here for you, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't speak about this yet. So normally with my builds, or with the videos that I make on Soulstone Survivors, I really like to be unique with them, because you know, it's something building a build like this, and then you do this on absolutely every character, and then you're like, oh well, you know, it's the same shit, different character, and then it gets very like meh very quickly. So what I like to do is I like to challenge the build itself. I don't like to use the obviously OP stuff. So when I do my builds, I actually have to run them quite a couple of times just to get the nice upgrades or get the right skills and things like that are going. A good example of this is I actually could never get a thematic build going for Obscure Arrow or for the Houndmaster's third weapon, the Bleed Gun, Heartseeker Rifle. There was nothing I could do that made those work thematically, which is what I usually do when they get new weapons and things like that. So this build over here that we are currently doing is not one of those builds. This build is a proper build that is going to take you somewhat far. You can definitely do Overlord cycles with this. I mean, you could do Overlord cycles with any build as long as it finishes the run. You would be fine to do Overlord cycles with it, because the build just gets stronger and stronger. As long as you start doing things like defensive upgrades in your build for those Overlord or Endless cycles, you will be in a good spot. But the reason as well as to why we took the ranged, like the exposed Arcane Disc, as well as the Magic Missile over the beam skills is perfectly clear in this video, where you can see that we are actually struggling to stay within range of our enemies, and therefore we have to look at going closer, further away from them, and therefore we have to work on you know, the ranged abilities. And that's why we wanted to take everything that was ranged, because then we didn't have to worry too much about any of that. We are taking the one magnetism over there. It does just help with being able to get some XP, although we are probably going to only hit like level 60 at best maybe, so we're not really looking at too many more levels over here. We are going to try and corner ourselves up here in the top left now, just because that's where we are, because of destroying the pylons. Again, you don't have to destroy pylons, but it definitely makes it a lot easier for us. And as you can see, we do have quite a decent amount of multicast, so we don't have to grab the arcane power either. It just helps with multicast if you don't find any, but otherwise you don't really need to get buffs. Getting a damage skill can be very good for us as well. But as I was saying earlier, I think I did just skip it. We did want to get the ranged debuffs going rather for our brittle and our exposed, because I don't believe we would have had the AoE for the other skills to work efficiently. So that's why we do take Arcane Disc, and that's why we do take Magic Missile. And then also beams have been slightly nerfed, so it's just better to use these ones, especially since, you know, they did get buffed. So why not use a buffed skill over a nerfed one? It just makes a lot of sense to me. Alright, multicast for us, that's beautiful. Some more crit, another multicast for us, and area of effect for us Vortex. Now in every single video, or if you know me on the Discord servers as well, I always say that I prefer Frozen Warhammer over the Ice Vortex. So that is true, I do prefer it over Ice Vortex, but the reason I'm using Ice Vortex here over the Frozen Warhammer again is because of range. and because of area of effect. So because we are building more cast frequency and multicast on this build, more than area of effect, besides for that on Ice Vortex, we did go for Ice Vortex instead, and that is because it has its own range and we don't have to aim it, and then we also don't have to worry too much about whether or not it's going to hit things. Our main focus is on our bolt skills, and that's going to be dealing most of our damage. The Ice Vortex, we'll see at the end if it does deal more or less damage, but I am expecting Frozen Bolt to have dealt the most amount of damage for this run, and we will see just that, but that is my expectations. That is why we started with the Ice Bolt as the starting skill, and I just lost my cursor there, so that was very fun, but we did find it again. And as you can see, our damage is very, very good, but we do have to just stay a decent length away from the bosses. Again, if we do stay close to them, obviously they will die very quickly, because we can then guarantee that certain skills are hitting them the way that they should be, but otherwise we seem to be in a very, very good spot over here. Now, I did do a similar build to this as well, but I didn't really like the build itself or the build pathing, and it took us about 11 minutes to finish the run. So still under the amount of, still under the timing to get into Overlord cycles and things like that. But I really feel like if your build isn't doing sub 10 minutes or anything like that, then maybe don't do Overlord cycles with it. This build, however, isn't doing so great either. I really thought it would have been stronger. Maybe it's also because I'm not actually cornering with it either. I am running around quite a lot, so if we did want it to go faster, we could corner with it, but that's dangerous. Who wants to play life so dangerously when your clear is based off of a bolt skill? Although Ice Vortex as well, but majority of your clear is based off of bolt skills. Also, we have Impending Doom, and I don't believe I've actually even taken Doom on hit. So that's a bit of a mess up over there for me, because we were using Shadow Bolt in the beginning, and then I swapped it out for Lightning Bolt. I completely forgot about the Doom, having Impending Doom. So we need to just pop one of those, or I should have popped one of those when I had the chance. But as you can see, we are on the final bosses, a decent chunk of damage. I was about to say that we didn't even lose a life, and then I went and did something silly over there, like dodging into a wall so that I couldn't move, and then we died. So, just don't dodge into a wall where you're going to die, and you should be able to finish a run in under 10 minutes without even losing a life, which is, what we were aiming for. So I think this build is a very good success. And we've just got the Ice Incarnation to kill over here, and that's the easiest boss in the game. And the reason I say he is easier than Alexi is actually because he is extremely telegraphed, and his skills are very easy to dodge. So there we go, fantastic. And let's go see what skill dealt the most damage to me. I am hoping it's Frostbolt, because that is what I based this whole build on, and it was. Did not let me down. Arcane Disc doing a surprising amount of damage over there, so really an interesting skill to maybe look at, with cast frequency going down to 2.7 over there as well. And then obviously Chromatic Bolt is there as a stat stick for Generalist, and Magic Missiles there for the Brittle. Lightning Bolt, unfortunately not dealing as much damage as I would have liked, but again, it was only level 4 and taken right at the end. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. And always remember, keep safe, survivors. Until next time, cheers.